It's hard to believe that the Toyota Prius has been with us since the late 90s, but here we are with the brand new 2016 model. This generation is truly better than it ever has been before, and yes, it still looks really weird, so I can't say that the styling is any better looking to our eyes. But of course that is all dictated by aerodynamics and what's best for fuel efficiency, and that's what this car is all about. Of course it's the go-to notarized, impossible to beat hybrid. It is just synonymous with the word, like Google for search engines. Prius means hybrid. So Toyota has that locked down, and they're not going to give it up anytime soon, but they're just going to continue to refine this vehicle. So like we said, the style is still the same. You still have the sloping rear roof, because that's what's best for aerodynamics according to Toyota. But let's talk a little bit about what has changed. Now, we do have a much improved interior, and that is true of the ergonomics and the layout of the controls, as well as the materials. So we have a modern dash design, flows nicely into the doors, but we have some helpful technology incorporated as well. We have a wireless smartphone charging pad right down here in the middle, in front of the useful deep cup holders, and we have just clear climate controls, easy to reach, easy to adjust, easy to see, and that is all good in our eyes. We also have color heads-up display, very useful for monitoring your speed, as well as it'll flash whenever you enter a different speed limit zone. It flashes the updated speed limit there, which is also very handy for making sure you're doing an appropriate speed for that area. Now, Prius remains a hatchback, so you do have plenty of cargo space, especially when you drop the second row of seats down, and gives you a lot of load floor there. So very useful vehicle, as it has always been. And inside, though, we also have pretty comfortable seats, and as you can see, I have the front seat adjusted for me at 6 feet. I can fit in here with a little bit of legroom to spare, and pretty good headroom. Even though this roof line does slope down back here, I have tons of headroom up front, and I can manage sitting up straight back here. So that passes the usability test for adults. And inside, as we mentioned, just a couple of weird things remain. I still don't really understand why the instruments have to be in the center of the dash. I think it's just a trademark thing that Toyota likes. It's quirky, and it's synonymous with the Prius, so I don't think it's going anywhere. Now, luckily, they have improved the displays up there. They're color this time. The graphics are a little more modern, and pretty much all the information you could need is up there. And like I said, the heads-up display pairs nicely with it. And we have the 7-inch latest version of Toyota's infotainment system there. That pairs with some apps for your smartphone, like Pandora and iHeartRadio, things of that nature, as well as some navigation functions if you need them. Now, we've established the interior is much improved, and the drive is much improved and well, and one big reason for that is the put a lot of emphasis this time into making the Prius drive more like a conventional car, and for that they've updated the suspension. It now has a double wishbone rear suspension, and coupled with just retooled dampening all around, this car drives much better. The ride is very good, actually, in our opinion, and it no longer really wallows and leans over in corners. It stays pretty controlled. Now, unfortunately, the steering is still very bad in our opinion. It's just very lifeless, numb, and it just doesn't self-center very well. So, of course, nobody drives a Prius for the enthusiast angle, so we won't go too much into that. We're just happy to say the ride is good, and the handling is much improved. So it feels much more like a conventional, modern mid-size car, as opposed to a weird science project that the Prius did 10 years ago. So this 2016 is rated at 54 miles per gallon in the city, 50 miles per gallon in the highway, and we've had a lot of highway driving, and we still haven't dropped below 50, so we're very confident that those EPA ratings are very achievable. And like I said, couple of things are still not in the hybrid's favor, and that is one of which is if you need acceleration right away and you put your foot into it, the CVT does allow the engine to rev up to a high RPM and stay there for a few seconds as the battery charges and they try to push off as much power as they can to accelerate. And it doesn't sound very good, honestly, although it is quieter than past Priuses. I'll give them that. So they made some improvement on that, and actually at cruising, it's actually pretty commendably quiet. So they have improved that a bit, although the CVT still allows the engine to get a bit coarse at high RPMs when you're accelerating hard. But that doesn't happen too often because you're usually driving this in a relaxed manner. On top of that, we do think the 1.8 liter gas engine could be a little bit smoother, but they have done a nice job with the transitions from gas engine on to off during hybrid transition there. So you really can barely tell, and actually most of the time I don't think I could tell when the engine was turning on to assist or turning off to run in electric mode. Now, the car is very capable of running along in electric mode around the city up to about 20 miles per gallon. But then past that, of course, the engine is going to kick in and assist. And we're looking forward to driving like the plug-in hybrid version of this Prius. The outgoing version gave you a much more usable electric vehicle range and up to higher speeds. So we'll look forward to driving that. As it sits, it's about $29,000 and some change. It does have a $2,000 option package that you could certainly live without, so you could get into a Prius just about like this for about $26,000, and that's a great bargain if fuel efficiency outweighs driving performance in your mind. But we're glad to say the Prius drives better than ever while still returning north of 50 miles per gallon for what we consider a reasonable value. So check this out if you are interested in a car with these capabilities.